Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
April 6, 2016, e-learning, 10 a.m. sharp. Here we go. Social media, professionally speaking, or professional, or professionally. Oh, whatever. Okay, good morning. This is a hard topic for me. And you're going to notice on the first page it says, there's a whole new world out there, big reality check, darn it. And what I find every single day, and I'm sure Steve's going to chime in really quick, is I can't believe how fast this part of the world is moving. And I write darn it here because there's sometimes I don't like it like that. So it's tough. The amount of applications you see every day, the amount of tools that people use that other people are saying, what is that? I don't know anything about that. So everything is moving really, really fast. And we've got to be in a frame of mind to understand that it's a necessity now. It's not a nice to, it's a have to. So Steve, why don't you start on the reality checks because you're better at this part than I am.
Well, Terry, I think that the key thing about the fact that it's moving fast is that we can't fall in love with anything that we've already done. Where a lot of times, if you're decorating your salon, you can fall in love with that theme. You can fall in love with that color pattern. You can fall in love with certain haircuts, certain color techniques. But in social media, you really can't fall in love with any one post or with any one ad that you put out there or any one call to action, because it changes. It's constantly changing. It has such a short shelf life, and the different social media outlets have different shelf life as far as how long a post is good for. How long will it be on someone's news feed? If you advertise, what will the effect of that be? How do you use Twitter properly? How do you use Instagram, which is where most of the target clients, I think, that we would all be looking for in the salon business, they're living in Instagram. They've now kind of officially left Facebook for us older people. So to be in social media, it's okay to post things simultaneously between Instagram and Facebook, but if you're just in Facebook, you're probably missing out. I know that when we look at our analytics, our Instagram, and amazingly enough in the beauty industry, Pinterest is still just absolutely huge. And so I think that, again, don't fall in love with any one thing. Keep working with it. Keep developing. You can develop a style, but don't develop a content. For example, I think when we were first in the school business, we either wanted to do something with haircuts to draw people in, or something with color to draw people in. And everybody, our clients, and our salespeople, our marketing people, they got bored with it just that quick, because it was...
Yeah, they have the attention span of a gnat, right? I mean, a post has what kind of shelf life? That's what you have to determine, too, to your audience.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about more on that later. Even as a consumer, you have to evaluate how long something is able to grab your own attention. But I think the biggest thing that we want to start on the reality check is we really need to realize, if this is done well, how fast the impact can make on your business. And you've noticed that in the school, because the school puts a lot of effort into this, because we're trying to draw in that age group that everything in their life is a billboard, on their screen. And so you're trying to get that and make impact quickly, but it's got to be done the right way. And we need to know what we're doing. And the biggest thing that I want to get on this first slide is our social media efforts and our social media commitment has to be as familiar to us and our team as doing a haircut. And I can tell you, even with the owners I met with yesterday, we're good at it, but we're not great at it. And so we have to get great at this too, right? Because just like you say, Steve, people can tell the difference between a good and a bad haircut. They can't always tell the difference between a good and a great haircut. But a customer can tell the difference between good and bad social presence, and they can also tell people that really are doing it well. They can tell great social presence.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think that the one thing that I would question, Terry, in that slide is must do it the right way and must know what we're doing. I would probably disagree with both of those phrases.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Well, that's what we're supposed to do here.
Absolutely.
And the reason I say that is because it's not as exact a science as a haircut.
I understand.
Or even as exact a science as hair color. This is something that the key word is get active, start to play, and then measure your results. Look at the analytics. Look and see how many hits. So last time we were with Robert Cromines, he's absolutely fallen in love with Instagram, just as an example. And so he'll post his stuff on Instagram, and he'll post other people's, like Jason or Noogie Tai or other Paul Mitchell people. And he's constantly telling you within 24 hours how many hits that particular image that he put up there got. And that's how he's monitoring the success of what he's posting. How much interaction did he get? And some are misses. You know, you're not going to hit it out of the park all the time. Some that you think might get big amount of hits gets 2 or 3 or 4 or 10, and then you put something else up and it gets 2,000 hits. And when I say hits, I mean either shares or likes.
Well, the other thing that what I was putting on this is this has to be as familiar as doing a haircut. You know when that haircut is going to self-destruct, and when it's going to not be able to pull it off, can't pull it off anymore. If you're only posting once a week or once every 2 weeks or when's the last time we posted, that's a problem. And so that's what I meant by it's got to be done the right way, and you must know what you're doing, and you have to have a schedule and a commitment to it, and it's got to be part of your daily routine. And we're going to go into that more later on in the future slides. Okay. The objective on this, I mean, some people are getting into the social media world. They have websites, but now they're thinking, okay, now I've got to do things in social media. And sometimes I want to talk about this because websites and social media posts are different. So let's start there, because people will say, well, I have a website, but this is different, Steve.
Oh, yeah. A website is ultimately perhaps a destination, but your social media should lead people to your website or stand alone on its own with the actionable call of action. But ultimately, where the majority of your data is housed, in other words, your hours, your staff, your products you carry, the services you offer, all of those things may be housed on your website. Your news, your media, your blogs, all of those things live in a website. But in social media, you can maybe take a thought and a photo out of your blog, put it into a just a quick hitting post on social media, and when people click on it, it takes them to the full blog on your website, and then they're in your website. The key is how long can we engage a guest? How long, is it just, are they just flipping through their screens, or are we evoking some kind of connection and some kind of action as a result of it? And it's fair to say, what do I want people to do with this? Am I just image building? Do I want them to ultimately land on my website? Do I want them to be motivated to click a button and schedule an online appointment? Do I want them to be able to click a button and ring straight through to the salon? What is the intended outcome for this?
Well, and we're doing this. I mean, when we look at the reasons why we're doing this, and I love the way you said, the website is a destination. The social media is going to try to get them to go to the destination to tell the bigger story about your business. So we're trying to build careers here, and we're trying to build businesses. We're developing that professional and personal identity, and we want to promote the business, the products, and the people. So you can have things about the salon, you can have things about the products and services, you can have things about your staff, and it all takes them back to the website. So look at your website categories, and you can make posts out of all of those titles. And we're really, when I think about this, is we're trying to grow the reputation. And I think the big question here is, when people search your name, what do you want them to see? And it's really a loaded question, right?
Absolutely. So one of there's a handful of just quick things that I think are immediately actionable as an owner. One is, make sure that you own your social media sites. For example, make sure that you own and have access and admin rights to your Facebook page, to your Instagram page, to your Pinterest page, to your YouTube channel, to your Twitter page. All of those things you need to have admin access to. Very, very, very important that you do. Many times what's happened, and we made this mistake in the past, where we hired someone young to, or put someone young on our staff in charge of our social media back in the very early days. And then that person is either no longer there, or we check off as leaders saying, okay, our social media is handled. And so it lacks your vision in that case, and it lacks your involvement. It also lacks your inspection. And I think it's so important that you're able to inspect what's done on a regular basis and check the results. And so most of them, even for example, like Yelp. Yelp has a Yelp Biz, which is the owner's page that tells you all different things about your particular Yelp account, and it allows you to customize your Yelp. And what it says about business and what it says about the photos that are there. It just allows you to take action. You can respond to posts by other people. You can change photos around. You can contest photos if they shouldn't be there. Just it requires action is the biggest thing. So Google also has a Google My Business, and it's just called Google My Business. That's an owner's admin page for your Google Plus and your Google accounts. I think that's also very important to have ownership in. The other thing is that most of these places have they have tutorials and ways of educating you how to best use it. The little caveat or tip that I would give you is making sure that if you're posting photos, that you have a watermark. And a watermark is just something that clearly says, this is Salon ABC, or this is Mary so-and-so. Whoever, whatever that brand is that you're putting out there, you want a watermark on your photos that tells you that. So we want to make sure, because the goal, for example, if you take a photo of a staff member that you've promoted and you put it on Pinterest, you put it on Instagram or Facebook, what you're expecting to happen is that their circle of influence, their friends, their family, are going to share, because they're proud, they're going to share that photo of their loved one that's been promoted. And every time you're going out, and that additional 250 people, every time a person shares something, there are people that are beyond your own Facebook page. So it's really it's really important that there's a way that ties it back to you. So
so if it's not watermarked, it loses its
it can loses over time. Yes.
Originator, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying that right, but okay. I mean, I always think about this. What stops you in your tracks? I must stop and take a peek. And what do you glaze over quickly, and how do you avoid those kind of posts? I mean, I think that even me, fashion always stops me. I love things that are in bullet form, meaning you must have these 3 colors in your nail polish wardrobe this season. I love things that are listed as bullets or tips. I love anything that has to do with tips and beauty and fashion and interior design. So those things are going to stop me in my tracks, and I have to take a peek. What do I glaze over? I mean, you guys don't need to know what I glaze over, but try to avoid the kind of post, because usually the consumer that you're attracting is very much like you. That's one of the things I was doing in my research yesterday is we're very, very similar in a lot of ways. And most people, the same kind of topics get the hits, and a lot of times the same topics don't. I mean, if you're a guy, I mean, we know that sports stats and sports information and sports history is probably going to get your attention. I mean, Steve, what stops you in your tracks besides, of course, the beauty industry, but sports, right?
Sometimes I'm more the positive quotes and the things that speakers and authors put up.
All right, so
I like those as mile markers.
And those even could, I mean, sometimes you could put those, if we think about wellness and balance and things that we want our salon to create for the customer, those quotes and such would be a beautiful thing to post along with and side by side with beauty. I mean, thinking about what we want that experience to be, those posts need to do that. And I think that's, if you were a haunted house, your thing would be all about scaring and craziness. But we're in the beauty industry, so those posts have to reflect that and everything you want that customer to experience. So why is this so easy sometimes, and why is it so difficult? Here's the part that I have a hard time with at PSC. Not everyone knows the plan, and this is something I'm struggling with as a leader here. And I don't know, Steve, if you want to add your part to it, but this is so easy because we have someone that has an idea what their plan is, but it's also so difficult that our whole company doesn't know what our plan is with social media. That's a mistake. That would be like having a promotion or a sale in the salon and no one knows about it except for the person that put it out there. And this really is a problem because it is your noise footprint with the consumer. And the last thing we want a consumer to do is sit in a chair and say to the hairdresser, I saw this post, and they go, I don't know anything about it. So why is this part so hard? And what can we do to make it easy? Because it's easy to create and understand what our salon is. It's difficult to have everyone on board. And we struggle with this ourselves. Steve, what do you want to say on this?
Well, again, it's because it's an imperfect science. It really, it's something that it's evolving in your own mind as a leader, and so to share the evolution of that thought with your staff on top of the busyness that happens every day with the bricks and mortar side of the business. You know, I mean, everybody's, you hope they're focused on taking care of the guest, but at the same time, do they have a need to know what your social media footprint is? Do we need to make sure, for example, what should and shouldn't be posted? Do we need to make sure or encourage that they have a professional pages that's where they invite their guests, so that they keep their family separate, their family and friends separate? Because again, if they're going to put, if they have a presence in your salon and they're going to be posting things, my gosh, first of all, you want it to be somewhat in concert with the values and the direction of your business, but also you want to make sure that it's fit to be seen by a guest also.
Well, I'm just thinking about the employee that sometimes, the conspiracy employee, that the last thing they ever like to do or have to do is to say to a customer, I didn't know about that. What are you talking about? I haven't seen that. And you work here. And if you don't know, and I know more than you, why is our staff glazing over our posts? Why aren't they seeing them? Why isn't it something that why does a customer see it and the staff didn't see it? We know they're enjoying social media on a daily basis. Heck, they're doing it right in our back rooms. So how do they not know what we're doing? Fair or not fair question?
That's fair.
I think so too. And if I worked there, I'd be irritated. But as a boss, I'd be irritated too, saying, well, why haven't you liked all of our pages? And why aren't you following
or why haven't you shared them?
That you work? Yeah, why haven't you shared them? I mean, that's a problem. So there are a lot of times, if you're thinking, gosh, I don't know what to do this week, you can always go back to your positioning statements, who you are as a salon, what do you do, what do you stand for. Positioning statements are a great reminder for the customer to recall why they're doing business with you, not just because of the service experience, not just because of the technical side, but your positioning statements as a business owner. And customers like to be reminded of that. And so if there's ever a lull or you're not doing enough of this, this is another great thing for your staff to know. You know, we have turnover in our salons, and we brought this up the other day. You know, if someone starts with us, how do we really put 35 years of our Paul Mitchell relationship in their head? Not easy to do. I mean, it's never going to happen. But with our positioning statements and our reminders, social media can keep everyone current with the whys. And we did this last e-learning, the whys, WHY''S creates WISE. So our positioning statements not only help your customer to connect with you, but it helps your staff, if you have these, connect and reconnect with you as well. So when we think about what differentiates you, some people, when we sit down, they say, I really don't know what to put on my social media. And Steve, you can speak to this, because some people say, you know, I'm just stuck. This isn't my forte. You've heard me say it. Mm-hmm. So what do we do? What differentiates us? What do we want the customer to see about us that we can make noise with them every day? Not every 6 weeks, but we can have something in their minds about where they have their beauty needs taken care of. We can put a deposit in them, on them every day. Steve, speak to this.
Well, again, thinking socially, this is something that is so different than what we usually think, because you don't have to tell your whole story at once. You just have to be consistent with what our story is. Mm-hmm. And so I think that certainly there should be regular posts that speak to the taste level of the salon. I think that there should be posts that relate to the fun level of the salon. At the end of the day, we're in the fashion business, and it's fun. We get to do this. We don't have to do this. And I think that if you have people, for example, there's a certain amount of again, Robert's posts that are just plain fun. You can count on it. You can count on the fact that you're going to see salonable hair, and then you're going to see something that's fantasy hair that's just fun because it is. The other day, I think he had one. He had a GIF of Noogie Ty dancing, you know, at a real fast pace. It was almost like a fast-forwarded message or video fast-forwarding through something that you've recorded on your TV. And it didn't have any big purpose other than to make people smile because it's fun. So you want to make sure that little by little, in little 5-second views on their news feeds or on their feeds, that they're understanding who you are as a service provider, who you are as a business, who you are as a community member. How you speak to fashion, how you speak to your customers, to your staff, the things that you value, the celebrations that you have, the way you celebrate your guests. Remember, every time you celebrate your guests, you're celebrating something that's going to get passed on, and that's really what we want. I mean, if we're going to change an industry, if we're going to impact the community that we live in, it's going to be because we have reach because we've reached out to enough people. And that happens by celebrating people, celebrating your ideas, and celebrating the experience of your salon. Just again, you have to think in short, quick, consistent snippets. Consistent. Better that you post 4 times a week than post 4 times in one day and take 2 weeks off. Does that make sense?
I have to add consistent to the C's, which we're going to get to in a second. That's
okay.
really good. All right, so let's go to this one. A service business. Now remember, every business is having this, but a service business, you need to focus. There's another area if you think, gosh, what should I do? I don't know what to, well, you can focus on the 3 areas of your expertise. And here's the questions. What do you want to be known for today? Whom do you want to connect with today? And what makes us unique today as a business? So once again, we're giving you ideas on, because you said to us, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to post. We know how to do hair. We don't know what to do. These questions, answering them will allow you to connect with your customer. And you do all of this anyway. So don't make this too difficult. If I said to any of you, what do you want to be known for today? Great hair, great people, a fun location where we have a servant's heart. Well, then there's your list. Who do you want to connect with today? All our established customers and their friends. Good. What makes us unique today? Probably what makes us unique is how we celebrate color in our salon, and also the wash house and the signature shampoo service that we offer. Okay, so there's your posts. And so now we know we've got areas in which we should be doing that. And maybe on Mondays, it's all about your expertise messages. The other ones could be about celebrations on Tuesday. You can get to where you create a habit of this so everyone knows what you're going to do on those days. And I'm kind of attracted to that. I remember a business that we were studying, and I don't think it's Starbucks, but one said, we're going to do these kind of posts on Monday, these on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And it allowed them, the staff, to know, okay, this is our celebration day. This is what we're posting today. And that, I think that our staff does well with that kind of structure and those kind of ideas, just like they know we're going to have our staff meeting on Wednesdays. On Mondays, we're going to do off-site education. Tuesdays, we're going to do in-salon education if we have it. They love that kind of structure, and I think it'd be easy for them to follow your leadership of social media if you do something like that. So here's the C's, and we're going to go through them one at a time, and we'll start once again. We're going to start with consistent, because Steve already said that. And remember, the thing that he said is it's better to post 4 times a week than 4 times in one day and take 2 weeks off. So create a schedule for yourself. As far as the C's in the beauty industry, these are the ones I was thinking about, is what are we up to? What's the current thing that we're playing with? What is hot in the salon right now? And they want to know what you're drawn to. And it can even be the product that you've fallen back in love with. I mean, there's times I'll give you an example. There's times I put spray wax down, and then I find it like an old friend, and I go, oh my God, why have I stopped using spray wax? And I play with that. Wouldn't that be a nudge if one of the staff reminded me of spray wax to pick it up versus me finding it on my own? And they want to play with us. So that's why being current and watching and all the things that you can do, they want to know what's going on in the salon when they're not there. Clever campaigns. You guys have some great minds out there. So you're very clever in things that you think about. Study other companies that are doing great campaigns, and you get that through the places you frequent, but also just watching the commercials and the ads in the magazines. They always have clever campaigns too. Bring those in and create campaigns for your business throughout the year. And those also become part of your posts. Gosh, we're the beauty industry, so we get to be cute and really cute anytime we want. And our staff is cute. Our staff plays together. Hairdressers look great all the time. I mean, you could have one hairdresser that really creates 6 different looks with her hair. Our customers want to do that. So even if you're using YouTube to do those quick things with, these are the 4 looks you can get with this haircut, and a hairdresser doing it herself. I can remember Mary just did her finger waves, and it was really cute. She just said, this is how I do my finger waves, and it was, 20 seconds, and she did it. Did you see that one, Steve?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And are you listening, honey? You just drifted away.
No. Well, actually, I seldom have need to do Mary's finger waves in my own hair, so it didn't resonate quite the same with me.
But our guests expect us to be cute, and they want tips from us. So how fun! I mean, they'll say, "That haircut is so cute." Okay, show it then. Our posts need to get people excited. It needs to show excitement. And so I kind of touched on this, but the befores and afters, the videos of people having fun, they want to see you liking each other as a team. You want to be a contagious environment. So that's a good one. Character. Ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. I mean, enough said. And one more thing, ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. I think about this and make sure that it's tasteful character, tasteful look, tasteful images, and that it's still, you can have fun but still be ladies and gentlemen. I think character is a huge thing that people look at, and they can witness what kind of business you are and the character of your business through your posts. What is our commitment to the communities and the guests that we serve? So this could be our service commitment on the inside. It could be our philanthropic. It could be the ways in which we want to give back to the community and to the land. So you've got a whole another side. This could be another day of the week that you're talking about your salon's commitment and giving back. Many of you do such wonderful things, whether you're helping women in shelters get a fresh start with their image, you're giving back to the homeless. And I think that those posts are really important for your guests to see. And do our posts honor our craft? And is it obvious that we love what we do? I mean, when you're having fun and you're doing hair, how do people not think, wow, are they in the coolest business? They are having a ball. And that's a big deal. So how often are we just saying, here's us doing hair, and we love what we do, and we were born to do this, and this is the best decision we ever made. So our posts need to reflect all that. So these C's gave you an idea of where you could go with your posts as well. I think that there's
great outline.
I think when we look at our things to do, let's talk about things to do and things not to do, because we have to make sure that we're avoiding some things too. So Steve, why don't you take care of this page?
Okay. Well, play nice, and Terry, I'm going to let you comment on that after I go through this. But maximize your shareability, and I think that what that means again is we're looking for that image to get shared. We're looking for our post to get shared. I think of the people that I share their posts. That's predominantly the way that I personally enjoy social media. I'm sharing other people's posts, whether it be the fact that John Paul DeJoria is going to be on CNBC tonight at 9 o'clock. There have been a couple of great CNBC posts about that, and I've shared them because it's newsworthy within the industry that I reside. And I like to share that with people who are in my circle of influence for that reason. I share things from the author John Gordon. I share things from John Maxwell. I share things from Robert Cromines and from Anthony Whitaker.
You would never share anything negative because that's not you.
Right.
It would say, look at this. This guy's having a terrible day. God bless him. Aren't we? Let's all have terrible days today. Everything is about what people can become, and that's what you're known for. And I posted something today on Facebook, and it was a message about a mother's message. And I think all women and mothers and fathers should listen and watch it. It is beautiful. I couldn't have connected more beautifully this morning if I wanted to. It just hit me everywhere. And I thought, wow, so I don't share unless it's positive. I don't share unless I think it's going to make a difference in someone's day, moving them forward. And that's a commitment that we make. I don't even post that weather is bad. I'll just say, look how beautiful this is. I mean, a snowstorm might be difficult, but my God, it's one of the prettiest days of the year. So you have to be known to not share anything negative or post anything negative. And when I talk about play nice, is sometimes people want to do business with their battle with their competition in social media. That's just so bad and so wrong. And people are going to judge your character based on the way you post. This isn't a place to get even. I can't even stand when two people decide to have an argument online. And it's one thing to view your opinion. It's another insult and to criticize someone in a post. To have the guts to do it face to face, I mean, that's not the place to do it. As far as respond quickly, anything negative needs an immediate response. People are wanting to see how you're going to respond. And Steve, why don't you touch on this?
We just have we have an internal rule that we respond to negative always, and positive sometimes. And I think that just is a way that internally we think about our service commitment to our guest. If we see something negative, not only do we respond to it, so that when you respond to a negative comment or a negative post on one of your channels, so to speak, that's really because other people are watching how you're responding. Are you ignoring it? Are you responding to them? Do you really mean it from a service standpoint? But then we'll also, wherever possible, because sometimes people leave things anonymously, we will try and dig deeper to find out who the guest is, and everything about their service experience, and then we'll call them directly or we'll reach out to them in any way that we can, because we do mean it, and that's your opportunity. So I think that's important. And then Terry, when you say monitor your channels, I'll give you an example. We're doing some Facebook advertising right now for enrollments in their schools, and so they have a program basically where we have made a list of people who were successful here in our program, and then Facebook has a way to go out and match people in the Facebook database with those qualities, those zip codes, those school backgrounds, etc. And we have a paid ad that goes out to those people. Well, yesterday we had somebody who popped back up on one of our sites, and they responded childish, is what their response was. And then tagged some of their other friends, and their other friends were all in there on a conversation. And it turns out that what somebody meant at the end of it, when they finally explained it, was that they didn't know why we popped up on their news feed. And so, but because of the content of the conversation that was going on between the friends, I had to delete those comments because they weren't in the best interest of the page. And so know that you can delete comments, know that you can block users, but it does require being vigilant to what's going on those pages on a regular basis.
Well, I think that another thing, I monitor social channels daily. I still say, I feel like a crazy person when I say this to all of you, but I have to ask the person, what does that mean? Is that good? How are we doing? And because they speak a whole different language than I do. When we talk to Jen Walton, our girl, and she'll say, oh, I'm seeing such wonderful, I think, well, what am I seeing? Am I seeing it? So I have to trust, and Jen Michaels oversees this part of our relationship for us. I have to ask questions to see if this is right. Is this the impact we want? Jen always has to make sure that it's who we want to be. So don't outsource if they don't get you, because you're confusing productivity with activity. Sometimes we're like, yeah, we outsource it. Good. Is it who you are? No, but we outsource it. Be careful that you've got the right person that understands you and gets you, that's posting, because the last thing you want to do is put a message out there that doesn't reflect who you are at all. So you want to watch for the interactions on a daily basis, because what happens if someone interpreted something incorrectly, and that's not how you think at all? I don't know. Did that make sense, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Action needed. How often is action needed except for the negative ones? And when do you know when to step in versus just a conversation? Steve?
I'm sorry.
How did you know
social
when
media person just send me a text.
How do you know when to step in?
You know what? Follow your gut.
Okay.
Follow your gut on that. I mean, it's still good business principles, and there's a reason why, if it bothers you. And I would say don't step in and accelerate or inflame any negativity that could be out there. Just diffuse it, and if need be, delete it or ask it to be deleted. There's times where in the school world on Yelp, we had a competitor that was posting negative Yelp comments, and they were situations that didn't even exist. So in our as part of owning the page and the Yelp Biz page, you can contest those, and then Yelp puts it through. You can't get rid of all negative, because some negative's real. Some clients, some guests have a bad experience in a school, and so it's not to filter it so that it tells a bad story. It's so that when it's malicious, you can get rid of it.
We had a negative comment, and it was at PSC, and do you fuel it? Do you address it? Do you feel like you're having to defend something, and am I going to keep it alive, or am I going to take the high road and kind of hopefully let it die down, or am I going to fuel it? And we decided on this one to not respond to it, because it really wasn't negative about the business and how we did business. It was negative about an individual. And so we let it go, and it died very, very fast. But had we responded, I think that Steve was right. We were going to just keep it at the top of its voice. So no response, and it dried up really, really quick. So let's create an evaluation system and schedule. So when we look at our schedules, I look at a timeline, and I want this added on mine too. We look at a timeline for our businesses, and we've talked about timelines for the last 2 years in e-learning. But now on our timeline, we want to say, okay, what are we doing with our social media? That also needs to be added, and that's something we could hand out at our weekly meetings with our staff or our monthly meetings with our staff, so they can see our efforts going through. Now, not always easy, but you could say we're going to follow up on, we know we're going into the homeless shelters here, so this is what we're going to post after that. So it might be obvious what those are, and maybe you just even after something on your timeline, you have some check marks or something saying all of these things in our timeline are also, if we check them, that means we want social media presence with it too. So you can create that right on your timelines that we've created together in the past. That way it's a visual of what you want to have posted. But an evaluation system, it kind of goes as what are our responses? What were our top responses this year? I kind of like when Facebook says, all of a sudden, because I'm old, so I'm still on Facebook, and it says these were your top, how do they say it? These are the things that had the most responses. Is that what it is? These are the pictures people like the most, or these are the posts that got the most. These are your top 5 posts. They give that to you. Do you know what I'm talking about, Steve?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So what is that?
I always enjoy that. Well, they have a whole myriad of things. So they'll tell you which of your posts this year did the best. They'll also,
right.
You can create a kind of a pictorial, a GIF, so to speak, where it moves through those top posts. There's other times where they'll say the words that you've most regularly used in your posts. And so those are always fun collages that you see.
I like those too.
Yeah.
Those are fun. Now, wouldn't you want to know that about your salon too, right?
Absolutely.
I have what we have at PSC, we have a leaderboard, and on the leaderboard it tells me what was our number 1 class, number of seats, what were the top in salon classes, what was the number 1 class requested this year. And I'm thinking our leaderboard also has to say what is our top post for the year, what got the most attention. And I think that there's a leaderboard in our social media too, but we need to know what that is. So you create an evaluation system, and one of them could be just the leaderboard information for you.
I love that. It's a great idea.
Okay, so when we look at, sorry, Brian, I'm probably going to get a negative post from him. Anything negative, anything, you have to catch yourself, and bad to say or good to say, but personal page and professional page. Don't badmouth anyone, anything for any reason. I don't care. I'm on Steve all the time if I see some of our staff complain about traffic or complain about a service call. No one cares. It just makes you look bad when you're the complainer. And we also want to tame the hashtags. I think that I don't get them still. Hashtags, I don't use them as a lookup, and sometimes I see people have 15 hashtags on one post. What are you doing? It makes me nervous almost. You know, sometimes we can have something get in the way and you lose their meaning. This is kind of a funny story, but we were somewhere, on a mountaintop and with friends at a ski lodge, but we weren't skiing. We were walking down and we were all in the snow, and I started to fall, and I had a Diet Coke in my hand. And I was more concerned about the Diet Coke than my balance. And the point was, lose the Coke and save yourself. Sometime tame the hashtags. Make sure that the hashtags aren't more important than the message. And also, automatic messages and responses, try not to do that. It's very, very impersonal, and no one likes them for any reason. They don't like automatic responses. I don't even like it when someone says, I'm on vacation out of town. I'm thinking, oh, great. Not that they haven't earned it. It's just my message isn't going to get to them soon enough. So try not to do those if you can. But let's go back to anything negative. I shake my head at people, at the things that they post sometimes. And anything negative on mine, I remove it. I don't want to see it in my feed, just like I don't like watching the news. I don't want to see it. I don't want that in my head. There's something that I was listening to this morning, and it was a story about an Indian chief and his grandson were having a conversation, and the grandson said, Grandfather, how do you know? Because we all have good and bad that live in us. And the grandfather said, yes, you do. One is a good wolf, and who is all positive and thinking about the future and how to carry himself and to give back and become a great member of the, they don't call it tribe, a great member of the pack. And there's a bad wolf that lives in all of us too, and that's the one that's selfish and greedy, has a quick temper, thinks of himself first before others. And then the young grandson says, but Grandfather, who's going to win in me if I have both of those wolves living in me? And the grandfather says to his grandson, whichever one you feed. And I think sometimes people are using social media to feed the negative side in them versus the positive side. And even our businesses, we have to feed the positive side, not the negative side. And I thought that's really good, because starting something is easy. Living with the results can be difficult. So which one are we feeding right now? And in every part of our business, we're feeding what part of them? The good side of our employees or the bad side? The good side of our systems or the bad side of our systems? The good side of our pricing, the bad side of our pricing? Because everyone can give an argument on anything. And it's how we defend. And our social media has to have a presence that feeds the spirit of what our business can become. And it feeds what the business days are in front of it, not behind it. And so I love that I heard that this morning, because even in my own life, I'm thinking, what am I feeding? And I need to starve out what's not working and feed what is working and the reasons why it's working. So I thought that would be a good way to close this hour. What do you think, Steve?
Well, we've got a question online that came in from Megan Powell. And hello, Megan. Just
Hi,
wanted
Megan.
to be sure that be sure that we address it. And it says in part here. Let me read it. What I'm running into with my social media followers is when I mention it to some guests in my chair, a lot of them say, "Oh, I don't do Facebook," or "I never check my Facebook." How can I emphasize the importance to a guest to become part of the social media experience and support the salon?
Ooh,
okay,
what a great question.
It is. And the thing that I would suggest thinking about is, first of all, social media is a conversation, and it is to engage the clients that you have, but it's also to engage the clients that you don't have, to bring to bring more into the business. And so when I would try not to get discouraged when someone says, "Oh, I don't do Facebook," or "I'm not checking." The reality is that I think they said if Facebook was a nation, it would be the third largest nation in the world, based on the people that are on Facebook. So there's plenty of room out there for us to communicate, attract, and attach. As far as how do you motivate your existing clients, I would just say by having it be fun, by giving them a reason to go to that. I would have the ability for them to either schedule an appointment online when they want to. I'd have that as an option. Or you have a contest, or you photograph a before and after of them that draws them to your Facebook page so that they can look for it online. Maybe take a picture while they're in the salon today and get their permission to post it on your website. Say, "You know what, I just love doing your hair, and I think it always looks so terrific when you leave, and you're obviously a great guest, and I'd love to feature you on my Facebook page." So that would be one way to do it. Also, you could get in the habit of posting last minute appointments or targeted specials at given times on your Facebook page, but they're all reasons to say, "You know what, you don't have to hang out there and wait for me to post anything, but it's good to check in. Be sure you like my page, and it's good to check in a few times a week because there'll be interesting things there." I hope that helps. Terry, do you have any ideas?
No, I mean I'm part of the last minute club of a spa that I go to, and there's a lot of times I get it and think, "Oh, I want that service," because facial is my number one favorite service in the whole world. And they'll say, we have last minute openings for the last minute club, first one to call, blah. And it's almost a teaser for me. I wish I could, but I love being in the last minute club, even though I can't take advantage of it in most cases. But that's a for me with that location. I love that. I love when they're announcing new services and teasing. I think I said this recently, but why do trailers come out about movies that are coming out next Christmas right now to tease us? You could be putting out teasers to your customers too about what's coming in the future. Now, some people say, "Well, why would you tease that far in advance. Why do they do it in the entertainment field? Because they know customers are going to get excited about it. I mean, I'm thinking about the new Finding Nemo. Dory's going to have a new movie out, and I took the kids, and they can't wait to go. They wanted to stay, and I said, no, it's not even out yet. Yeah, but they just had it up there. Yeah, they're teasing us. So now that's going to be a conversation in our house about Nemo 2 or Dory, whatever. Do the same thing with your customers. Play with them and really enjoy it. Do we have any other questions, Brian?
Do we want to unmute the line to see if anyone has a question or comment?
This is a hard topic for me because I feel like a hypocrite, because where I'm a consumer, I expect them to do this, and it's still not my number one thing yet, technology. I'm really working on it, and I enjoy it, but
question. I just have to figure out how to get to it. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is from Valerie Granada, and it says, I follow the old motto, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. I also apply that in social media and everyday life. Thank you, Steve and Terry, for this webinar.
Good.
Okay, and then
I agree.
Oh, thank you, Valerie, and that's so true. You know, and I hope we've had that message go throughout this webinar that it's about positivity. People are drawn to that. That's what's contagious. You know, they say that people go to a NASCAR and what they're looking for is the wreck when the cars get in an accident, or they go to a hockey game and they're waiting for a fight to break out. But the reality is, yeah, we're all human, and we can't avoid looking at that when that happens. When there's an accident on the road, there's a gaper's block. But the fact of the matter is we don't want to participate in that, and we're drawn contagiously to the positive, and that's what we have to focus on. What's going to make your guest absolutely respond to your social media presence? So Anthony Galigo asks, did you see if you had any more videos in the Paul Mitchell cutting system? Oh, you know what, Anthony, I believe I do. Let's collaborate offline on that. But I believe I do. Yes. And Kathy, thanks for your comment. I hope you all have enjoyed today. It is an imperfect science, you know, and so there's more rights. There's tons of rights. Find people, find salons, businesses, companies, individuals that you admire, follow them, learn from them, make it your own, put your unique twist on it so that it always talks about who you are, who your business is, who the guests are that frequent your business, and most of all, have fun doing it. If it's a chore, if it's something you hate to do, it'll be so hard to develop a consistent presence, and that's really what social media does. Very fast way to grow. Remember, it's word of mouth at the top of its voice. Word of mouth on steroids is what happens on social media, but it's also just like you have to earn word of mouth through your guest experience, you have to earn that word of mouth through your social media presence, and the rest will take care of itself. But we have to speak social. Terry, I remember when somebody said that to you. We have to speak social going forward.
The last comment I wanted to say, it was the CEO of Burberry, and she said, and we're about the same age, and she said, what I realized in the world is I'm still speaking English and the world is speaking social, and I have to learn social. And you know, I'm better at it every day, but my first language is still English for sure. So happy posting, happy thoughts, and just help those people understand who you are on the screen as much as they know who you are when they're in your business. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
And we'll be watching all of you online, so we'll play with you socially as well. Thanks so much for your time, your attention, and enthusiasm.
See you next month.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.